welcome to Trinity Update. I'm Suzanne Dowdy, and I hope I have what should be a slightly familiar face with me today. If you're a regular viewer of Trinity Update, maybe you'd remember Tracy Hutchinson Wallace.
No hair, no hair. Oh. Cut it all off. That's
yes,
maybe
that's
me.
right, okay. And she is the Communications Officer for Habitat for Humanity, which is a wonderful organization doing fantastic work all over the world, and of course here in Trinidad and the Caribbean. So for those of you who are saying habitat for who, we're going to ask Tracy to give us a little background to how what they do and how it all started.
Yes, that question still comes up every once in a while.
I'm sure.
Even though we've actually been in Trinidad and Tobago for 21 years.
Wow.
Now we celebrate our 21st anniversary in March. Habitat began in 1976 in Georgia, in the States.
Right.
A group of people got together and decided to try to do something about housing and housing issues in the South.
Yeah.
Because there were lots of difficulties. It would have been, you know, middle of the civil rights movement, and the economy wasn't very good. So people of all ethnicities were having real problems getting affordable housing. And this group came together and said, let's try to do some sort of community work and community action to improve housing. The model that they came up with was actually pretty innovative, and it still is, where corporate sponsors would offer the seed money for construction. The people who are applying for housing would come with probably a deed to land or a long-term lease. They would put in actual physical work on their own house.
With the people who,
And they would donate twice as many hours of work on another house, another community project, paying it forward.
Thought out.
And then they would pay back a small, very affordable mortgage. In Trinidad and Tobago, a mortgage is about $600 a month. And when you compare that to even the lowest possible rent you can get for a one-room studio apartment, which is in the thousands.
It 3,000, sometimes 3,500.
Exactly. It means that a family that would have really been struggling before now has a little bit of breathing space. They are getting to put equity into their home, build an asset for them and for their children. They are learning financial management, how to manage the sudden windfall of the extra money.
Now, do you offer that, or they just, you know, on their own?
Oh, of course we offer it. Of course, we offer financial management training. We offer home maintenance training. We are going to start small, well, we start in a small way, construction training for people within the area, and we're expanding that to the homeowners themselves. It is a very transformative process. It is really trying to empower people, to give them what we like to call strength, stability, and self-reliance or independence. And that's basically what we've been doing for the last 21 years.
Good work. And what is the criteria? You know, somebody looking on and thinking, oh yes, I know so-and-so down the road, you know, the 16 of them living in one place, and so what's the criteria for somebody who needs a house? Or
for a new house, they must have land. And that really is our biggest obstacle, because most people don't own land. If they don't have a good deed to the land, sometimes we can work with people who are doing long-term leases. So we've had churches who've had land who've offered a long-term lease to the people in their congregation to build. And because we realize that there's a lot more that needs to be done, and we hate to turn anyone away, we have now embarked on building, renovations and repairs for people who may not actually own the land, but are in critical need of some sort of upgrade to their house. So
now, who would do that work?
Well, volunteer. We, of course, have technical supervisor.
I think they get
Yes,
which is great.
That's something that we're really very excited about, because as I said, I think I've said before that there's something like 25% of the country doesn't have access to
proper housing,
affordable housing.
Wow.
That means every month, if you know 4 people, one of them has to juggle food, rent, and medication every single month. And that's just unconscionable, considering how much wealth there is in the country. In terms of the criteria, The upper limit is $8,000. That is total household income, gross household income. As I said, we really would prefer if people came with land itself, but we can help you if you've got a certificate of comfort. If you've come through Land Settlement Agency, we can sometimes help other people who are renting. Our aim really, as I said, is to try to get people into the best possible housing that we can, the best possible shelters that we can.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah.
Wow, and that's a big job. Now, I'm thinking too, as you're talking, wouldn't it be lovely if you had, not just in one area, but you had people, and I'm saying this for the viewers, hint, hint, if there were people who had land in different parts of Trinidad, who would say, look, I know that these people are in need of this, and would actually give the land and the lease, etc., so that you could build, say, 6 or 8 houses in this area and 6 or 8 in that area.
That is something that we have been really working for. There is actually a Habitat Street in Guayco.
Okay.
Because when we first began, a very, very kind lady gave us land and we were able to build 4 houses on it.
Okay.
And we've been trying to get back to that point ever since. We have been approaching everyone. And I do know that there was a point when Bishop Llanos, before he left, said, this is something that we really need to see what we can do. So we've been working to get that kind of donation going on. Because once we can get the land, then we can no longer build single-family units. We're going to start building multi-family units, like we do in New York. In New York, the City of New York regularly takes buildings and signs them over to Habitat New York. The same thing happens in Sao Paulo in Brazil. Actually, if I remember correctly, Sao Paulo has an actual law. If a building is over 30 years old, unless the owner can show that they're going to do something with it, they're required by law to hand it over so it can be made for either commercial property or residential property.
Which makes
We're not asking people to change the law, but we are asking people, if you've got land and you're not actually doing something with it, do something good for the rest of the country. See what we can do.
And I'm sure, like you, like myself, you drive around Trinidad, as wherever, whether it's in Port of Spain or otherwise, and over the years, you see houses or business spaces that have been closed up for years
and years.
And you say, what is going on here? Somebody could be living in that, a family could be living in it.
Yes, so I mean, we're working very hard, lobbying governments, talking to town and country planning, talking to everyone to see how we can make use of the resources that we have here, because it's 2 small islands, we've nowhere else to go.
That's right.
So we have to make use of what we have.
That's right.
Yeah.
So the ideal, the best case scenario is for a family in need to own the land on which they're squatting or whatever.
And if you're not sure about your land tenure, we do have a legal desk that will help you check it, and help you file the mortgages, that kind of thing. We take people through the whole process of maybe organizing your land, making sure the construction is done, and then more. I mean, we like to say it's a 30-year marriage that we're entering into whenever we sign a mortgage.
With each family. Now, what are the houses built of?
Okay, we have in the past built some wood. We build mostly in concrete and brick. And for families who can afford it, because it's a little more expensive, or for families where the corporate sponsor has decided, okay, we're going to really do something a little more for them, we go with aluminium steel frames and concrete board. That's particularly for families who need housing very quickly. Because whereas brick and concrete can take 3, 4, 6 months, steel frame and aluminium can take 1 month to go up.
That's a big difference.
And the closer it gets to the rainy season, the more urgent sometimes it becomes to make sure we get people under shelter.
Now we can take a little sidestep here, because I understand that you're now in Dominica.
Yes.
Okay, now is this because of and since the hurricane in September?
It is precisely because of Hurricane Maria and Ivan and Joseph and all the horrible ones that hit. We are working with the government in Dominica on a particular project which is giving them a lot of technical assistance. We are training Dominicans to build hurricane resilient roofs. We are working to retrofit some of the community shelters that they have, and we're also working with the government to try to figure out how to get the whole town and country planning system sorted out. I mean, that's the long-term part of it. The short, immediate term is really getting the roofs and stuff done before June 1st, which is when the next hurricane season comes.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is we're recruiting Trinidadians to go across to work. Carpenters and engineers for the most part.
You're hearing that? You're hearing that.
Carpenters who will be training Dominicans on the ground. Engineers who will be going in for a slightly shorter stint. Carpenters are there for about 4 weeks. The engineers go in for about 10 days to assess houses and provide bills of quantities. So that the government knows, okay, these are the people that we need to work with very quickly, and this is what they need. So they can start channeling materials to them as quickly as possible. It's a big project.
It is a big project.
I
know, because we've been involved too in hurricane relief. So we know,
we've been helping out with some of that as well.
What you're talking about. We know about what. And then of course the land in Dominica is because it's not all flat.
There are several challenges there, and as I said, it's fairly urgent work. And you know, people will say it's urgent, but the hurricane happened months ago. This is the recovery part of it. When a disaster strikes, you see Red Cross and people like that go in immediately because they're responding. This is the part that tends to fall off the front pages of the newspapers.
That's right.
And drop in the second and third section of the news. But this is the long-term, really important part where we're trying to get people back. Not just to where they were, but get them to a point that if it happens again, they can bounce back even faster. Build back better is what we're trying to do.
Because I keep thinking about people who have lived in these islands that were so badly hit. I mean, as the hurricane season comes around again, and a lot of them, as you would know, are living in the home that was devastated by Hurricane Maria, and they still have tarpaulin. Just to keep the rain out. So if another hurricane comes,
they still do. I think people, because we're so lucky, people don't really understand how much damage those hurricanes did. I pointed out to my son, every year they retire hurricane names. Last year they retired 4. All 4 that devastated the Caribbean. So that tells you how bad
it was.
It really was.
Now, if there are people, skilled workers or professionals who want to go, they would pay their own way to Dominica?
Okay, so for the carpenters, no. The program that we're working with, Lutheran World Relief, they are paying for the carpenters to go. And they are actually paid there. They get a US dollar stipend, room, board, food, everything. The engineers are being asked to pay just their airfare to go across, and then they get a slightly higher stipend for their technical skills.
Where would they live when they go there?
There are some guest houses, there are some actual houses that either were not as badly hit and have been repaired quickly, or places that were lucky enough not to have been hit. So there are places there to live. It's not Disney World.
No, we know that.
It's not Sandals. So if people want to volunteer, be prepared to rough it, but I'm telling you, the work you'll be doing
is so fulfilling.
Will be blessed. Will be blessed.
To know, I mean, the stories that we've heard, and we've shown some of them here on our station, the families that were traumatized, and, the loss of life. I mean, if you could help in any way to make those people feel more comfortable and not so afraid of, the next hurricane coming.
I mean, that's part of the reason why we're looking so hard at some of the shelters, because some of the shelters there did not survive. We've heard horrific stories of groups of school children hiding in the toilet in the church, and water is up to their chest. 10 years old. I mean, my son, he's 10, he's the height of my shoulder, so it's up to his chest. It's like there, and they're standing there for hours.
You know what that does to a child?
Exactly.
That memory.
That kind of trauma. We want to try to avoid that and just get people back to a sense of normalcy.
Now, how many houses do you think, or are you aiming to build in whatever space of time? Okay,
because this is a technical assistance thing, we are building demonstration houses for them. So it's really a very hands-on, intensive training of how to build. So that is a 6-house project that they're working on, and then
you remember the area of Dominica where that is?
It's all over. It's some in Russo and a couple further on. But the idea is to get as much technical expertise on the ground and active as possible. Part of the problem that happened is that after the hurricane, a lot of Dominica's skilled laborers left.
Yes.
They had to. A, there was no work. B, they needed to feed their families. So they had to go to find something to do. So we are working now with people who may not have the technical expertise, and we've got to bring them up as quickly as possible. Yeah.
Now, these houses that you're building now, even though they may be demonstration houses, can they be lived in?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's not demonstration like demonstration.
Yes.
It is,
they can be lived in.
Yes. So this is the family we're working with. We are building their house. We're teaching the family how to work with their house. We're teaching all the laborers how to build the house. And then we want them to go out into the communities and start working.
Okay.
So,
and helping to build homes for other people. And of course, there's the plumbing. When you think of building a house, it's not just 4 walls and a roof. It's the plumbing and the electricity.
Yes, even though we're asking for just carpenters and engineers now, boy, Trinis want to help.
Yes.
Everybody is coming. Plumbers, electricians, interior designers.
Okay, great.
Everyone wants to help. And we're taking all the names down, we're getting all the information, because we're hoping to be able to use people ourselves, or if not, at least channel the information to others. I mean, I know that the Dominica, their version of the tourism board, they are actually and actively encouraging volunteers to come in on a vacation, but come specifically to build and help. So I'm trying to gather some information to make sure we actually can send people to the correct authorities, because you can't just go anywhere, you know, unscheduled. But that's the kind of thing that people can do.
You have to think of, you have to be really innovative in your thinking.
But in the meantime, I know people want to put hands on the ground, but let's put hands in our pockets and help us get some of these things off the ground. So.
Well, let's talk about that, because you have a delicious, I have it here, annual wine and cheese celebration, an elegant evening of good wine, delicious food, and excellent entertainment under the sparkling evening sky in Santa Cruz at Green Meadows. And that is on
Sunday, the 10th of June.
10th of June.
From 6.
Okay. And those tickets are $250.
$250, and every time we do
this is how you can help.
Yes, every time we do it, people say you're underselling, you know, but keep it at that price.
Yes,
we will come. And really, it is one of, we only do 3 fundraisers a year, and I think for many people, this is the one that they tend to put on their calendar.
Yes.
Because it comes, it's a nice time of year. There's still, you know, fairly dry nights. It's not too hot, not too rainy. People really, really enjoy it.
Yes, I'm sure they would. And $250 is really
it's a really good
not
price
that
for
much.
Wine and cheese.
I mean, if you go out to dinner anywhere or so, I mean, you're paying much more than that. So where can people get tickets?
Well, you can call us at Habitat for Humanity, 674-2031, and you can find us on Facebook or contact us through any of the social media sites. And we can get you the tickets.
Now, you know, if you're sitting there and you're thinking, well, I'll never be able to go to Dominica and help them build a house, or even here in Trinidad, I'm not physically able to do that. The $250, even if you buy one ticket, and like we do here, you know, sometimes people say, look, I can afford one ticket and I will just give it to somebody
else,
you know. So you can think of ways like that of helping.
And even if the $250 is a little much, we do accept donations online.
Yes,
we can accept smaller amounts online. So habitat-tt.org/donate-now.
Right. So what if, so let's just kind of help people to understand the wine and cheese. It's at
Green Meadows,
okay, which is in Santa Cruz.
Santa Cruz, correct.
All right. So what happens there that night?
Well, first of all, we're all rushing to get ready because people start lining up in the car park half an hour before we begin. That's how popular it is. We always have a wide selection of wines from many of the better wine shops in Trinidad and Tobago. We have cheeses, we have appetizers. You could afford to not eat before you come. You know, your mother always says eat before you go. You can afford to come with an empty stomach.
Even though it's not a proper dinner, you have enough appetizers.
And don't be put off by the wine bit of it, because we have a lot of non-alcoholic drinks, and we've got coffee and tea afterwards on your way home. So it's really well planned and set out so that people can really enjoy themselves.
And you have entertainment.
Okay, so we've got Yolanda coming back. She's a beautiful, beautiful singer, very energetic, very empathetic. Everybody loves her. And we have a couple of surprise guests, which I've been specifically embargoed not to say, but you'll hear more about it on social media, I promise you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's going to be a wonderful night. And if you can't go yourself and you know somebody else who may not be looking at the program, go on the Facebook page and see how, you can buy tickets and help. Okay, we have just about 2 minutes left. How would you like to wrap up here? Anything about what's happening in Trinidad? Or?
Well, we are building in Trinidad, as always, all over the country. We are also trying very hard to see how we can change some of the land policies that exist
to
make it easier for people to access housing. So we're actually working on a survey that is in the public domain now. I want people to look out for it, talking about housing access and land tenure for vulnerable people, persons with disabilities primarily, and persons living with HIV/AIDS. So if somebody sends you the survey, take a little time to fill it out, because we really want to know. We're hearing some
it's not just sent
stories.
out for the fun of it.
I mean, if you do help us with it, it gives us the data to try to influence government to make it easier for everyone to get housing.
You remember off the top of your head how many houses you've actually built here in Trinidad?
692.
Wow.
Yeah, as of March 14th.
That's amazing.
We have helped more than 8,000 people.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as you say, as you've described in the earlier part of the program, it's not just about, okay, we know you have a need, here's your house. No. These are people who have been involved in building the house and then have gone on to help to build other houses.
With our help, these families have gone from children who are not going to school at all in primary school to kids who are graduated from university and going on to postgraduate.
Because they have a home to come to.
Because they have a steady home to come to, and they have that safety, that security, that stability. So,
all right. Really okay, well, I think that's it. Any last words?
No? Just, it's just such a pleasure and an honor to be able to help people.
Yes, and we really applaud you, the work of Habitat for Humanity. I've been talking with Tracy Hutchinson Wallace, the communications officer for this great organization. So reach out and help. Thank you for joining us. God bless.